So I was so excited when I was invited to present this workshop on kind of the facing change or the future of retail on Main Street. I kind of really am focusing it on that. And when I was walking around yesterday, I remembered quite a bit that you have some national chains here. Unfortunately, you don't have Ross anymore, but thank goodness we have this beautiful center here where we're sitting. But you have come some of the higher end, like Anthropologie and Pottery Barn and Williams Sonoma. And when that happened way back when I was here in the early 80s, it was quite a shift for San Luis to have that first gap. I think that was your very first big national named retailer that came in. And I have to tell you, I'm so pleasantly surprised to see all the smaller retails that are surviving both all the changes through the years, as well as, gosh, the pandemic, when we all pivoted. And now we're in recovery. I don't know what the next word will be. Maybe 2023 we'll have like, yeah, we're back. We're strong. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the evolution of retail, just to kind of set in context what's happened over the years, because us who've been in it for a number of years, I've been doing this work for over 40 years, we've seen lots of changes. So I just like to always put that into context. Then what are some of the emerging trends? And you, as folks that are in the industry, probably know it firsthand. What are some of the trends? We've lived through the major trend of pivoting through the pandemic when we were actually sheltered in place, and our foot traffic that's so important to retail was suddenly not there on the sidewalk. And we pivoted quite quickly to get our online presence going. And I applaud you for that. It's not an easy process. It took a lot of heavy lifting. Realize it was scary when you don't have many people coming in your storefront, but you still have your lease, and you needed to really push out the sales. So, and then what are some strategies for as we look into the future, even just as short as through the fourth quarter? I'm going to have my afternoon presentation on specifically preparing for the fourth quarter, which in the retail world is our quarter, right? But I believe every quarter should be our quarter, not just the fourth quarter, but it is one of our bigger retail quarters. And but when we look into 2023, 24, hopefully I'll leave you with some information that can kind of help you restructure your marketing strategy, maybe your business practice, looking at, you know, some of those issues that you're facing and maybe coming up into 2023, and start to make a little bit of change that'll help you kind of navigate the new year. So with all that said, I'm going to move on. I have my clicker here. I'm really nervous. I'm actually shaking. I'm just so sorry. It's just so great to have people in the room with me. Usually I'm just looking at my dog on the floor as he's starting to bark, and everybody else's name is on the screen. Did it sleep? Warm it up. There we go. So the first slide is really, and you, and we have a city representative with us. That's great, because he will definitely attest to the importance of retail. I always like to remind retailers of your key importance in the economy of your local community, your region, and the state, and really worldwide. A lot of times us retailers, they, you know, especially if we're independent retailers, we are like one single one. Oh, well, you know, they have that store, they have that store. But when we look totally as a group, we offer and contribute a lot. We generate sales tax. And of course, that is key important to our services, our local fire and security protection, reinvesting those dollars back into street repair, keeping our streets clean, our beautification, keeping all of the public areas, you know, attractive, which are very important in this competitive marketplace, especially if you're located in a downtown that has maybe I don't know how many property owners are in your downtown core, but it's probably not just one. And everyone has different standards of how they maintain their property. So you do generate a lot of local services to the public. You, as retailers, you're one of the biggest private employers as a whole in the country, supporting 42 million jobs. And nearly 32% of those jobs, with our fingers crossed, have been first jobs in retail. And right now I know retail and a lot of hospitality and really all businesses in all sectors are having a hard time really getting that staffing support that you need. But as a retailer, you are definitely contribute and the largest employer. You contribute to your local community. And I like to use this statistic, which back from doing downtown revitalization work, it's tracked by the National Main Street Center, now known as Main Street America, is that for every dollar you spend in an independent business, 60% of that comes back into the community, whether that is from wages or you're investing in supporting a local organization, putting back into your own business. If you spend that same dollar in a national discounter, about 20 cents comes back. Now, I'm not going to say that national discounters are not needed in our retail fabric. They are. They're very important, huge job generators, huge sales tax generators. And we know that most of our communities operate on sales tax. But for you as independent businesses, you really are the front of the community. You're really reinvesting. So that is key. You are a quality of life indicator. And with our gentleman here from the city, Lee, he could tell you when he is trying to court a new business into downtown, they often want to see, or even just into San Luis Obispo or even into the county, they want to see how downtown is functioning. They want to see how healthy it is. They want to see there's a lot of variety, that it's well kept, that, you know, what's the level of the activity on the street, because maybe they new people coming and looking at relocating all their employees want to be in a place that is healthy. And so you as a whole, retailers, you're the indicator of the quality of life. Retail dominates the supply chain. You are the very last end from manufacturing to distribution to the consumer. So you dominate the supply chain. And I know we all know this because we've had issues with supply chains and we've really had to shift where we get our products and services. And then you're interdisciplinary. That means, and I'm a small business owner. My husband has a picture framing business and we live in Phoenix. I'm a guest here I have an office up in Grass Valley, but I also have an office in Phoenix in his picture framing business. And we're one-people shows. We are doing the books, we're cleaning the restrooms, we are ordering the product, we are putting together our social media campaign, we're implementing our marketing strategy, and we're attending workshops to expand our management skills. So interdisciplinary means that as a retailer, you're crossing all of those areas. Now, some of us get to the place where we can hire out some of those services, and that is great because it's really hard to be everything to everyone. So I'm not going to, I'll get off my soapbox on retail and let you know that retail is critically important on a lot of different facets. My hair is falling apart. There we go. So what's the evolution of retail? Well, let's start from way back, the mom and pops in the 1700s, 1800s. And these shops were, a lot of our communities like yours that have some of the historic buildings that were other uses, they were primarily drugstores and grocery stores in the beginning. And they provided every kind of product within that structure. And then department stores when we moved from agricultural based a nation to manufacturing and industry. We saw Macy's pop up in 1858. Bless their heart, they're still giving it a try. And Bloomingdale's in 1861 and Sears in 1886. So these were our first department stores, and they began popping up in the big cities. And they did more than just provide services. Sears actually sold homes, right? And some of those are assembled over there in along historic Highway 49 over there in Sutter Creek, and you could actually buy a house in Sears. And then the shopping malls appeared. And I like to also put that credit takes hold in 1920. So we started to see credit, and that was important. And then the shopping malls appeared in the 1950s. And if you followed that trend, that's really where redevelopment and the boom of suburbia started. And we had a lot of our houses being built outside of the city cores, and a lot of our shopping malls were built. And this is where we saw a lot of our independent businesses that were our anchors, like Sears, like Montgomery Ward's, like grocery stores, like our hardware stores, really leaving and going to where the malls were. And we were left with our independent businesses who depended on those larger stores to drive foot traffic, to drive traffic to our core. And we know that malls, by 1960, it says here in my notes that there were more than 4,500 malls across the nation, accounting for about 14% of retail sales. Well, some of them have declined, and it hit its low in 2019, and then had to shutter in place too, and a lot, and their sales are continuing to slip. We're seeing some malls that I know in Arizona, we have 2 big malls that are trying to figure out what they're going to be now that they don't have their strong retail. And so malls are continuing to slip. And then the big box appeared in the 1960s. We don't want to really talk much more about the big box, but they're here. And Walmart's annual revenue for 2020 was $523 billion. Creates a lot of jobs, a lot of sales tax. And those big boxes are really about providing a lot of items, a lot of cheaper items at a bigger scale. So we, in the 80s, we did a whole workshop. We went up and down in the 90s, talking with our independent businesses how to coexist with big box. We knew they weren't going away, but we knew you could coexist with them. And as a toy store owner, you probably experienced some of that. I know up in Grass Valley, they had the last Kmart just closed. And then now Target's going in. So there's a little worry from the home-owned the goods stores in downtown and the toy store down. And she actually went there and did a little shopping to see what they carried. And of course, they carry some of the same brands, but about a lower quality, not as deep in the departments. And then e-commerce came in the 1990s. And that's, Amazon was established in 1995 as a simple online bookseller. And I don't need to tell you any more about Amazon because I have a 26-year-old and a 43-year-old daughters, and both of them shop like their own stock in Amazon. But I am not an Amazon shopper, but boy, I'm telling you. And then social media opportunities kind of started to really blossom in the 2000s, making it very accessible to us as retailers to really push out and reach new markets through a social media campaigns, whether that was Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or, YouTube, all of them. So that's kind of the evolution. So where are we today? Well, all of that is still kind of in place, right? We're still kind of working in that environment. So some of our future emerging expectations, we know that 60% of our consumers intend to continue shopping for goods online, even after the pandemic is over. So online is not going to go away. Our behaviors shifted drastically when the pandemic hit. And we suddenly started to realize that in order to get our products to our customers as retailers, we really needed to step up our e-commerce. Now, the bigger boxes and the national chains have had the ability and the resources to go online and show us how it was done. They've had online e-commerce for quite a while. So it wasn't a surprise that we needed to go online. It was just, how do we do it as a smaller retailer? When you're talking about, a small retail store with 2 or 3 staff versus a national brand that can spread the risk across the nation, it's apples and oranges. But the behavior, because we were sheltered in place, because we needed our products and services, it's going to continue. Our behavior now, we're much more comfortable with shopping. Even, the older generation, baby boomers like myself, I'm on the edge there. I don't shop online just because I ethically like to support my small businesses. But if I can't find something, I'm going to look online. So it's just the way it is. Safety, though 61% of consumers rely on our physical stores being open but want to feel safe. Now, walking around yesterday in San Luis Obispo, I didn't really get the feel that we're really still, there weren't masks there. I didn't see a lot of hand sanitizers. I didn't see, at least in the retail market, the social distancing going on. Still see some the barrier between the cashier and not. Of course, a lot of your restaurants still have open air dining that was brought in for the pandemic. Where I'm still seeing safety and health is more in the health and wellness industry or sector. That's like your health clubs, your spas. I took a once a year yoga class with my sister in Visalia. That's where I'm staying. And afterwards, we had to spray down the blankets and wipe down the little blocks. So it's still there. But for retailers, our shoppers are still wanting to know that it's a safe, clean environment for us to come in to. There's a rise in private labels, and they're selling 3 times as much as branded products. And this is one area that I'll go a little deeper into in how to differentiate yourself from the competition. And private labels are like either, I don't know, do you have a private label at all? Do you have? And so private labels, we're often seeing those in soaps, in lotions, in perhaps candles, more of those kind of hard goods. But then we're also seeing a lot of local sourcing, right? A lot of carrying in maybe smaller businesses that are just getting out and want to get into the retail market, and jewelers. There are a lot of retail and jewelers, or maybe they just published their first book and we're carrying those kind of authors in or toys that are locally sourced. So private labels, there's a rise in it. We're seeing it more and more. I'm starting to see it in the clothing line. So, and it gives the feel that if you could buy, a branded lotion at any other department store, when you're in a retailer, especially a smaller retailer, and they have their private line, it makes it feel much more with the brand. You're connecting with the brand. And this is key. And so that is an area that is growing. Supply chain challenges are still happening along with the bullwhip effect, which means we've been waiting for all those containers, and then suddenly they're here and we have all of this merchandise. So the bullwhip is coming around, and now we got all this merchandise and we got to get it out the door. So that is still a challenge. I don't think it is as much, especially in some of more of the less larger bulk items that you're needing to purchase, but it is still going to be a challenge. And then bricks and mortar still own the retail industry. 1 out of every 4 consumer expects more from you. Shoppers want the experience to be seamless. They want 73% of online shoppers say free shipping greatly impacts their purchasing decision. They expect retailers to know them and engage on more personalized, contextual level. Retail has always been about understanding the consumer, but it's much more imperative now. We've become kind of finicky. And when we go into a shop, it's not that we want somebody just come and say, oh, how can I help you? And that kind of get in, into the sales mode. It's more, I went into the humankind business, which is the fair trade, and great service, great laid out store. I kind of, came up and gentleman said, well, I hope you found everything you liked. You know about our shop? And I said, no, I didn't know it was a nonprofit. And they gave me their whole story, put a little, the 7 principles of shopping fair trade into my bag. And I was actually buying it for my granddaughter because she's way into all that. And I was going to ship it off to her to Oregon. But I learned a lot. And it was a great experience. And I felt very comfortable there as a consumer, not knowing much about that shop, and definitely left an impression on me on their brand and their story. Okay, serious shopping on social media. Maybe not right on the app. Facebook Shop was introduced in May of 2020. I don't think it's taken off like they have hoped for. You didn't need to have a third-party processor, didn't need to go right into your bank. So they were trying to help smaller retailers get that e-commerce going before they got their website up. But it's still social media is still a powerful tool for leading and guiding people to your website or your e-commerce site. So, and I think that with Instagram, they're slowly introducing more of the shopping directly off the app. Of course, so it is going to be a huge trend, and they're all trying to figure out how to do it and make it effective. Experiential retail. 60% of consumers say they expect retailers to dedicate more floor space to experiences than products. And this is where we do pop-ups. You may have a vendor come in and do a pop-up demonstration of a pop-up business on it, maybe a new toy, or bookstores have been doing it for years on authors. My daughter had a Pilates business in Grass Valley, and 20% of her storefront had to be dedicated to retail on the ground floor. She didn't know what to do. So she invited pop-up businesses to come in each month and pop up a display, and that was her retail. And so that she didn't have to buy the product, she just had to do commission. Pop-ups are if you would like actually during the farmers market here, or an event that's in an area in your strip mall, and you don't want to bring your stuff out onto the street, but maybe you invite a new business to pop up there and have their products out for adding to that experience. Home goods and kitchen stores have been doing experiential, I always say experimental because I think that's more true, but experiential retail with cooking classes, right? So transparency, still a huge linchpin. We want to know where our food's coming, we want to know where our product's coming, much more adhere to shop, maybe buying US products or locally sourced products versus what we could ship in from China. Much more transparency about that. Sustainability, and I know California, you're on the cutting edge of sustainability. You don't allow plastic bags anymore. I went to lunch yesterday, and the packaging was, that recyclable cardboard. We don't allow straws, stainless steel straws, but it's going to be aligning retail with that sustainability, like Tom's shoes. And they've shown that for years, that every pair of shoes you buy from Tom's, they give back, they buy a pair for the country that they're supporting. And then there's new models coming out, and I'm not going to go into too much of those details, but those are, because we have more trends, emerging trends. E-commerce or retail, it's just commerce. I don't care how you're selling it, you just got to get it out the door, whether you're selling it out the front of your door or the back end. You're doing more e-commerce, you're selling it through social media, you're using sites like Amazon for drop ship, or you're still doing eBay, or marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, lots of different ways. So the future is just really understanding how your customers want it delivered and then doing the best job to get it to them. The multi-channel commerce is going to be the new norm, the Omnia channel. This is where you're going to be looking at your customers and how do they get information? How do they know about what's in your retail shop, what your promotions are, what your products are, how to get them. And so it's not just opening your doors from 8 to 5, 7 days a week. You're a retailer, you better be open 7 days a week because your competition is. And so now it's like, what are the other touch points that you can actually get the information, the marketing, their products to them. And then, yes, reimagining your retail staff role. And I'm going to talk about that in more detail. I'm going to tip my toe in there because you guys as retailers know this firsthand. You're doing the best job you can. There's some information that I pulled down from the National Federation of Retail about some thoughts on how to move that into another level to keep that your frontline staff happy and not burned out. And then brands, you'll be challenged with higher customer expectations, more pressure, and the need to pivot to retain the mindset. So how do you really make your business stand out? Let me get this to my right notes here. Are we all doing okay? Okay, you guys are such great attendees. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll be more than glad to answer it. I know you online, we're doing this, taping it. You have to kind of maybe wait till the end. But so what are some strategies? And these I'm going to go in, of course, running a successful e-commerce site. Experience versus product driven. Going to talk about that. Your retail staff retention and embracing all the ways that folks can shop with you. Digital and interactive marketing. We're going to talk about reimagining your brick and mortar footprint, which I'm seeing a lot of. I've noticed a lot here, a barbershop that had a clothing store and a hat store all within it. Maybe they were the 3 different businesses. It felt like it was. I'm not sure. We're seeing more of that. Stellar customer service, which has always been your competitive edge against a lot of the bigger chains. And it still is. And not only in-person stellar customer service, but how you deliver it, your policies, your return policies, your shipping policies, how quick you're getting it to the customer. Unfortunately, Amazon has really changed and shifted our behavior. We expect it same day. We expect easy return. Well, that's not always necessarily true with smaller retailers. So how do we kind of find our niche in that expectation market? And then local sourcing and private labels. The one thing we have always known as retailers is that building lifelong relationships with our customers is key. For you guys in San Luis Obispo and maybe surrounding areas, maybe I just need to push, oh, there we go. Am I in the right spot? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, in my PowerPoints, I've tried to use and pull down. Now, I'm going to give you a tip right here. As a consultant that doesn't know your area, and my only kind of window into your retail market was through social media or my internet, right? Because I couldn't be here physically. Now that I've been here physically, I took a lot of pictures and I plan on using those in my future PowerPoints. But I look through your Facebook, your website, your Instagram, your Yelp, your Google My Business, all of those touch points that you have a presence out there in the cyber world for me to pull down an example to use in my PowerPoints. Third-party sites, such as a chamber site, a DBA site, often those links are broken. So one thing you want to do is go in and check all of wherever you may be linked, even on your own websites, in your own Facebook pages and Instagram sites, to make sure those links work, because that's how a lot of us consumers are looking for buying a product, or knowing you're open, or where you're located, especially on Google My Business. So that's really key. So I try to use as many examples as I can in the local community that I'm presenting, to give a little shout out, to let you know this is what your business's community is, this is what they're doing and how they're getting their information out. So first strategy is running a successful e-commerce site. Well-designed site is key. I know right in the beginning, our SBDCs were helping a lot of our retailers with getting their websites up, helping them understand which one to use. The Shopify subscription, should I use WordPress? Square, you know, they all have some type of e-commerce now. And thank goodness it has become more business friendly to put up your own e-commerce site than it used to be, because we used to have to try to like learn HTML language, and we couldn't load up, you know, photos. And so it's much easier now. So some of the ideas about a well-designed site is to avoid clutter, clear point of focus, and drawn to the call for action, the CTA. So important. And or the products you're wanting to sell. I tell my retailers when I'm working with them one-on-one, don't try to get all 500 of your products up online in a month. It's just not going to happen. Start to play with it. Do you want to put your best sellers up front? Do you want to put maybe some of your promotional items, some of your new items up front? And then drive people to, you know, another part on your website or into your shop where they can see the full range of your products. I was working with a business up in Grass Valley, hardware store, toy store on the top, candy on the bottom, never had a website, never had Facebook, wasn't even had an email, immediately put up her 800 puzzles when the pandemic hit. She had one of her employees take all the pictures every day, because everybody was home doing puzzles, right? She says she's still selling puzzles off that website. Then she introduced her seasonal items, like she would do Easter baskets because she had a lot of Easter candy. So she started to do seasonal, and that's how she kind of started her site. Simplify your menus. If you're going to be, don't make it so difficult that it's hard for people to figure out how to buy from you. Stay organized and group what you're selling, but you don't want to overcomplicate things, but you want your menu should be specific. Instead, use broad terms to categorize your products. Add a search bar. Nothing's worse, and we're looking for a pair of you know, shoes, or we're looking for a specific toy or a specific book, and there's no search bar. That's really key. And I don't know about you guys, but I use the search bar a lot. Used the search bar a lot when I was on my Google Maps trying to find this place. And, you know, it's very important. It really streamlines. And that is customer service right there. If they can find it from you right there online, they're going to order it, especially if they have a relationship with you. Write informative and product descriptions. Avoid large blocks of text. Keep the description short to the point. Explain how the product works by highlighting the key benefits. Use bullet points to make it easy for consumers. And remember, when we're writing our descriptions, we don't sell the features, we sell the benefits. Benefits are what people want to purchase. I like this simple candle jar. I did go into Blackwater. Candles are just one of their items. And not knowing, and there's a lot of candles out there to buy, right? Everybody's selling candles, but an eco-friendly, sustainable soy wax candle, hand poured, means it's, you know, very handmade, in a reusable iridescent clay colored glass jar. The scent now, and then the size. Now, of course, it doesn't have one of those scratch and smells right on it. And then they have, they have share this, they do PayPal, but then they have more payment options, simple, to the point. They do have all their categories up there. I just pulled this down as an example. I thought it was just really kind of hit some of those key points we talked a little bit about. Give video demonstrations. If you have a complicated product or you're wanting to show something exciting, think about a video demonstration. You don't have to do a whole bunch of them, but maybe on some of those key, especially as we get into the fourth quarter and you have gifts, and maybe you have a new product. I don't know what the trendiest toy is out there right now because I don't have little kids, but I'm sure you can tell me what it is. And the demos on that might be something a little live. Calls to action, and then prioritize search engine optimization. This is where an area where your SBDC counselor could help you. I know that some of the SBDCs have specialists in SEO, how to really embed those keywords so that when people are searching, your site is going to be coming up as one of the top 5 or 6 of them. And then stellar service, attentive and thorough customer service, offer free shipping. Remember, embedded into the price. But free shipping is that kind of perception that it's great. I don't have to pay for shipping. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have to pay for return shipping, because that's the rest of the story. What is your policies? Eliminate steps in the checkout process. Get their billing information and shipping address. That's all you really need. Offer guest checkout. Like I said before, I am not a huge online shopper, so I really appreciate the guest checkout where I do not have to give them everything in order to purchase it. I can do a guest checkout. And you could probably attest to some of this, right? The payment options. And then offer special promotions, write ways marketing to drive traffic to your site, write blog posts on a regular basis. Blogs should be your key thing that is on your website, then all of your marketing comes from that blog. You repackage it, whether it goes into your social media campaigns. If you're not doing email marketing, you've got to do email marketing. You've got to have your subscriber list. Email marketing is the most powerful tool for retailers. And I could go and do a whole session just on, don't assume they don't want to get that email you're going to deliver into their email box. Just because you may not want them doesn't mean your customers don't. Emails are powerful. And the information can be, you can segment your emails according to how you obtain them. I travel a lot. I am rarely asked to sign up for an email list. I'm a visitor. That is a percentage of your target market. If it's not your primary market, if you're a local regional type and you're pulling in those people from just the regional, all those visitors that are coming with the people that live here, family and friends, they can become your customer too, especially if you have e-commerce site. So get their emails, start thinking about an email marketing strategy that then drives people to your website to then purchase your products online. And then feature customer reviews and testimonials. My 26-year-old, she does no shopping, doesn't even the dentist, she reviews every review. And if it doesn't have 4 or 5 stars, she's not going to go there. Now, I don't do that. I do more word of mouth reviews, but not the online. Okay, so let's talk about, anybody have anything they want to add to this about your e-commerce site that you found was effective? Do you have an e-commerce site?
Yes.
And was there anything you wanted to add that you found has helped you?
We've been working hard to we started our site in 2019.
Yes. Been working hard. Most retailers that are coming in, new retailers that are coming in the market are set up already for e-commerce, and they're looking for space that allows them to have maybe some fulfillment space. They're wanting space that's dedicated to actually fulfilling their online orders. It was interesting when I was walking, there was a couple, and they weren't handwritten, didn't see too many handwritten signs, so you get a plus for that, San Luis Obispo. But they were printed up that this location is appointment only, or go to our website to shop, or give us a call. As a visitor, I'm not going to do that because I don't really know that business, but maybe as a local that knows that business, and they didn't really, and in their store, it looked like they just closed it. You know, it wasn't like presented like it was just a special gallery that you know, inclusive. But we are seeing retailers needing a little less footprint, but more areas to then help with the distribution of their products.
We do have one question.
Yes,
You know if there's a function on Wix to capture emails?
I'm sure there is. I don't know. That would be something that I'm not familiar with every single website program, but majority of them do. Now, if you're using like Constant Contact or MailChimp, they do on their end will then speak language to the website to have a pop-up that comes up to capture it. Good. Okay, so that experiential, or as I like to call it, experimental retail, the benefits. Like I mentioned before, shoppers are now really getting used to having experiences than products. Now, a lot of shoppers still just want to come in and buy the product. They don't want to see the, you know, have that experience. But we're seeing like certain type of retail offer classes. And, you know, the wine and sip classes have started, and those classes that offer craft type of products are, you know, selling the kits, but then they're starting clubs. I work with a very small arts and crafts company up in Trinity County, the smallest county in California. There's not one incorporated city. And she is starting a fiber group because she specializes, there's a lot of people up there, and there's an alpaca farm, and they're starting to get, and she's starting a fiber group, and then she has that group come meet where she has classes, and then she's doing classes, and then they get a percentage off when they purchase in their shop. So part of that experiential type of retail is looking at your categories, and is there a way to bring in either forming a group or doing a demonstration. Sometimes our vendors help us with that. If you're, you know, have a certain type of product you're carrying and they come in and do a demonstration, or the book reading, the authors, a lot of bookstores use that. So it builds brand loyalty, it increases foot traffic, gives opportunities for social engagement. And we've known our coffee shops have really grown into this. They become the third place, right? Not only are they a place where you can have coffee, and coffee's almost like the byproduct. Now you hang there, you can have free Wi-Fi, you can meet. I even seen job interviews going on at coffee shops. They may even bring music in. They're really diversifying. Our restaurants are doing that too. They've always had happy hours. Now they're bringing in maybe specialty chefs. They're doing some promotional, looking at a corner to have maybe acoustic music. The Barrel House, it had a full on, they've got a lot going on for them. They do rentals, they have a society membership, they do videos, they do a pint night, an artist series. They do an event and donation request. So that restaurant or that tap room or that Barrel House has really looked at using their footprint or their physical storefront, because they're paying rent just like everyone else is, but it's not fully maximized maybe during the off hours. So that is one thing we're seeing with our retailers is besides being open 7 days a week, every day, are there hours in the evening that maybe your site blends itself to then allowing other people to come in and use your space? And then also when you have an experience or a pop-up, you're helping support another new business. And then you can get feedback and observed behavior too. Okay. So some ideas, the pop-up truck I saw in Phoenix when I go to the market, Central Phoenix Market. Yes, we have a farmer's market. Yes, even when it's 110 degrees on a Saturday, they put the vegetables and stuff inside. It's at a big, huge church parking lot. They put the vegetables inside and then everybody else has to stay outside. And it starts at 7 in the morning. Just like your farmer's market here, which is, nationally known. We used to use your market as a testimonial when we were going around to downtowns in the late 90s, talking about how to help downtown attract. And San Luis Obispo, you were a poster child for it. That's where we're seeing a lot of entrepreneurs start up. I'm seeing boutique trucks. There was a gentleman in Phoenix that he had a storefront, and in a big, large urban setting, it's harder to find the smaller markets, the smaller independent businesses. So he's at a strip mall that's over in maybe 20 miles away from downtown Phoenix, but his primary customer base, his target market are millennials, and they're all coming to the central market. So he actually took a school bus and converted it into his clothing, and he just sells these t-shirts out of it and hats. And it was like the most amazing thing. And then of course he has his card and he does online, he has a storefront, encourages people to go there. So pop-up trucks are not just for food anymore, they're for retail. Again, full-on strategy, got to think it through, got to figure out if it, what it's going to cost, where would I put it, what are the events, who's going to run it. So these are just ideas. The rest of the story is what's the plan, right? Community-focused events, don't need to tell you about those. If you are located right where the market's happening, then you might be participating in them. I always encourage startup retail to look at maybe participating if they're not in a storefront, but they're just a pop-up, maybe talking with another business about coming in and doing like during the holidays for a special customer appreciation shopping and add some value to the product line that's already there. Plus, when you partner with another retailer, whether it's in your own area, your own strip mall, you guys coordinate and collaborate an event, you get to cross promote each other and cross promote each other's customer base. So we see a lot of synergy, and that is why we look at putting retailers together. So there's synergy, maybe not like right next door to a big, huge another toy store, but you're dependent upon foot traffic and what other businesses need foot traffic, and then that synergy. When a lot of retailers started back and started to shift their hours to be open later, they were anchored right next to restaurants that were open later. They started to be open on Wednesday nights just to get that evening crowd. So there's a lot of collaboration that can go in. Offering value-added services. This is where I was talking about classes. Apple was among the first retailers to start investing in experiential retail with knowledgeable sales associates, in-store classes, exclusive events. You can actually go in and touch all the new stuff that's coming out. Really hands-on, just come in here, and lots of sales associates there to help. The biggest disadvantage of online shopping Customers is the inability to test the products, right, before purchasing. So when you have some experiential retail, it encourages your consumers to test out the products in ways that maybe they wouldn't. So you think about, having, then it deepens the customer's experience and builds confidence. Demonstrations and in-store samplings, and then guest presentations. Implement localization. Think about the location and the people who live here. This helps a new rapport, and that's where maybe a new business that's just starting out, you want to help them get going. And that's, they don't have a storefront yet, but they're looking, but the space that's available in the right location's too expensive. So you help incubate them within your store. In Chico, I was working, and they had a lot of that going on. And here, I'm sure San Luis Obispo, you have a lot of architects coming out and engineers and designers. And as they want to start their new business, they get incubated in another business. And for retailers, that can be like a hairdresser or a barbershop. And then there's a retailer, but the retailer is selling clothing, but they can't really ready to rent and take on the full overhead of a retail space. So they'll come in the front end or the back end of an existing business. Now for retailers, when you do that, you have to work out the logistics of how do they get in there? Is it separated? Do we have two different cash registers? Who gets the key in the front door? And what happens when your space isn't totally protected? So there is some issues that come with that, but it is a trend that is very popular right now. Okay, retail staff retention. And I was gonna try and find, you can tell I'm used to doing 1 hour webinars because we're almost done, and it's only been an hour, so we'll have lots of time to share. So I was looking yesterday, I was going to try to take some pictures of staff working, and I was just too embarrassed, so I pulled this one down from Unsplash. But yeah, really, what is going on with the retail retention? And a lot of it's, we lost some of our great staff when we had to shelter in places. Retailers, they either had to find another job, or they moved back home, or they're just not ready, started their own business, seeing a lot of that happening. And so for retailers, because you depend so much on folks that are comfortable with customer service, being the front line, training is key, right? So happy, engaged employees lead to loyal customers. In one of the communities that I worked in Grass Valley, they had two wonderful part-time employees that businesses shared. They shared their, she worked part-time for one store retailer, and then she'd go and work for another retailer. She was trained on retail. She knew the area. And so that was kind of how they dealt with some of their part-time. Of course, for the fourth quarter, your key time, especially if there's a lot of promotions going on around the holidays, small business Saturday, and then you've got all your community events that are happening, and then anything that you may be doing, your customer appreciation around the holiday, around Thanksgiving, maybe you're doing an open house. And then this is where you really need to hire up, right? So sometimes we pull in our family, friends, but one way to look at really kind of retaining staff, recruitment is different, retaining staff, because there's a lot of investment that goes into training your frontline folks, and it's an expensive investment, is like looking at either other areas that they can assist in. Do they have experience in social media? Could they be your fulfillment person when they're not working the floor? Can they help with buying? Can they, they're really getting burned out on cleaning, still important piece, or just folding, but managing in person, virtual appointments, responding to live chat, coordinating curbside pickup orders. all of this, if you expect one person to do, or two part-time employees to do, they're getting burned out pretty fast. And because we have such an open job market right now, we see them skipping over to another job. So it's like a revolving door, isn't it? I am sorry. So maybe offering some more benefits. I know that, minimum wage is getting up there, but sometimes adding a little more competitive wage, more flexibility, especially if they're have a family and they need to be home when the kids get home from school, but maybe offering some flexibility, having them come in after hours to do fulfillment or cleaning, offering some more specialized roles, and then just really rewarding them. And it's not always about the money, but it's maybe sending them to a class to learn more about one of the areas that they're interested in. Or I have a niece, she works for an insurance agent in Texas, the all women's insurance agents. And when they met their quota, she took them all to Mexico. I'm like, whoa. Now, I'm not saying you guys need to do that, but thinking about how you're building that team. As retailers, we really need to be a team. And so looking at how to further develop that team building, maybe it's every 3 months we go out to lunch together and we talk about what's coming up the next month. From you guys that are in the trenches, it's probably, you could probably have tried everything and anything to keep good quality people. And I have my friend that owns that large store up in Grass Valley. She is continuously looking for people, and she just gets them trained and then they go and move or something. So this is an area that is continually shifting, and with the cost of inflation, and then with minimum wage going up, and it's a stretch for us smaller retailers to kind of try to build that strong retention program. So looking at it creatively. Interns, do any of you guys use interns? No interns. Yeah, sometimes we mention interns, but then you've got to, that's another whole thing too. You've got to have the learning experience for them. Okay, well, moving on. So embracing that multi or monadic channel commerce, selling on multiple channels, and it's a strategy that provides a seamless shopping experience from the first touch to the last. And really the benefit, of course, is building relationships with your customers. Your brand presence and messages have to be active and engaging across your website, your email, and your social campaigns. You need to be posting, or you need to have your social media campaigns at least active 3 to 4 times a week. If you're just posting once a month, it's not going to happen for you. Those of your customers, if it's your customer base and they're active on social media, they're continuously on it, and their feeds are getting full. So you have to be continuously thinking about balancing that organic content with sharing updates, with videos, and then also engaging on shared content, consumer shared content. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are using any social media campaign or social media platform, the goal is to drive everyone to your website. Your website needs to be your hub for your business. And so social media is everyday interaction, where a website is really a one-way. And it's really a way of, especially with e-commerce, of fulfilling the sale. So social media is about, and I always suggest to clients, so think about it in buckets. What could we post on Monday? What could we post on Wednesday? And what could we post on Friday? Now you start maybe with a weekly blog, and maybe it's about, what a new products in your business, where you're going to be, what's coming up next week, and then you break it apart that way. Maybe you also include in your blog a shout out to another new business in your district, or you do have your employee write a blog about their experience, whatever it is. And then you start to tear that apart. But maybe Monday is about something that's in your business. It's about your business. It's a fresh week. You're a reminder that you're open, your commerce store. Maybe it's a new product. Maybe Wednesday, it's a live video that you're doing, or you're repackaging some consumer type of tags that you had. And then on Friday, it's about an event you're going to be at, or an event that's happening in the community, or a shout out to another new business. And all of that, it creates engagement. Consumer expectations have changed. 53% of consumers want to browse products online and check what's available in your local stores. So we still have that showrooming going on, only in reverse. Showrooming is where they come to your store to see what you got, and then they go shop it online for price comparison. They may not be your primary keeper as a customer if they're doing that. They're more price. There's a whole 6 different types of customers behaviors, and those are the ones that are really price conscious. And as if you're a smaller retail, it's really hard to be that. Your markups might be a little higher because you're not buying in volume, but your value added by where you're at and your type of service you provide and your customer follow-up adds value to that. So if they're coming into your business and then going back and purchasing online, and they're not purchasing from you, then they may not be one of those real loyal customers. But a lot of times they're coming, looking at your website, and then wanting to come in and smell that candle that we had. This is this shopapprops.com. This is the drop down, right? Where you can sign up and get 10%. So that's the drop down that we had mentioned earlier. So you're building your email list, and that 10% is that little carrot to get them to fill out the email and then bring it into the shop. And then here's their rewards. They have a reward program, a loyalty program, which many retailers have a hard time trying to build. But there's lots of examples out there, and loyalty programs that I have seen less of them. They're more online. They're not so much when you're at the checkout, but sign up for points, and then these are the way you earn the points, and then you get to redeem the points. And coffee shops were really good at that for a while. I don't think Starbucks does theirs anymore, do they? I don't drink Starbucks, so I don't know. If you order online, got it. So multiple marketplaces or storefronts, not only just your website, but thinking about maybe if you're have the type of products that are appropriate for Etsy. I know some retailers are also selling on Amazon. They also are continuing to sell on Facebook Marketplace. They're also selling on through Walmart. Not that I'm suggesting that, but it's not just your own website. They're looking for other ways to get that product out. Now, I'm not an expert on what it takes, and there's lots and lots and lots of fine print on Amazon, but I do know of several businesses that have been able to really, on a couple of their specific categories, get more products out that way than they were just their own website. And Etsy has been around for a long time for not just handcrafted, but now they go into antiques and other types of specialty items. And I go in there sometimes for just that kind of handmade item that I need. I was looking for one for my daughter to take all of her t-shirts from college and make a blanket. Couldn't find anybody local to do it, so shopped it on Etsy and looked at all the reviews, found a wonderful woman to do it. shipped all those t-shirts, have been sitting in my closet, and she had a video. She was, communicative. Again, if you're going to be managing these different sites, you've got to have the bandwidth to do it too. So like, you said you're starting out small, but then as you're growing, it's that bandwidth and maybe you have to hire a specialist just to come in and that's part of their job description, is just to manage these 4 or 5 sites that you have that you're trying to sell your product on. And then use a commerce platform. Talked a lot about that. And automation, using a chat bot for customer service. If you have Facebook and you are actively using a Facebook page and you're using some of their pop-up messages, you got to make sure you respond to them all the time. A chat box is the same way, a chat bot. Those are routine customer questions. You could even put a FAQ on your site if you want to, especially about your return policies. And look at what's in your industry and who has kind of set that bar for customer service and automation, because that's kind of where you would think that you might want to kind of look at, because that bar's been set by that either a national discounter or a larger toy store or a larger clothing store. And how are they automating? What are they using? All right, I love this one. Marketing. I do a lot of that. They really, when I was had to pivot back in March of 2020, I started doing a lot of digital marketing hours for different SBDCs and just demonstrating live through the webinar how to navigate a LinkedIn page or a Facebook page or a Facebook group for business or Instagram or TikTok. And so again, I think that social media has given us the ability to immediately test new things, push out promotions that maybe you could immediately have started in a couple days. Plus, it gives you insight to the back of how you're doing on your social media platforms. The analytics are key. And then the advertising on most of your social media platforms is pretty affordable. And you're seeing a lot more, and you're going to see a lot more as we get closer into the last quarter of sponsored ads. And that's an area, especially I would say, try to think about in your trade area. If you're going out 50, 60, 70 miles and you're going to have an in-store actual promotion or event, or even an online, where are those pockets that maybe you want new customers from? The thing about social media targeted advertising is you can really drill down into the region, into the population, into their interest to drive an ad. So you're probably maybe not wanting to have an ad to your existing customer base, but maybe you're wanting to do a promotion for first-time buyers or first-time visitors to your shop. Show this ad and receive a discount, or you're just going to be promoting your business in general, and that you're going to be open extended holiday hours. A lot of businesses are starting to focus on SMS marketing. That's those texts. Now it's not a free service. You have to pay for it. It can be very affordable. I get a few of them. I don't know how they find me. The one that just drives me crazy. Well, I think I signed up for Free People. I'll just admit, my daughter buys Free People. So I signed up one day when I was in there, and now I get them, right? But I can always stop. It's just like email marketing. You can always unsubscribe, but the SMS texts come right to your phone, right? And it's like that constant reminder. That might be an area that you want to look in 2023 or test it out. Talk to a couple of your colleagues, maybe in your industry, see if they've done any blogs in your association you belong to about the effectiveness of SMS texts and that type of marketing strategy. Again, one more layer, right? I really don't want to underestimate the power of email marketing. So if you haven't started to use it, start to grow your email list, and then think about your strategy for the upcoming holidays, and start to maybe try to put together an email marketing promotion once a month at least. And the hard part is getting your emails, right? I have a friend, she owns a little store up in Trinity. She just has a little glass fishbowl. She has on the back of her business cards, give me your email, drop it in your bowl, and I'll let you know when my next email is. Well, she hasn't done the email yet. And it's been a year. And I said, now, Jean, you have 500 cards in your fishbowl. What are you doing with them? I just haven't had time to do anything with them. So there's the rest of the story, right? So maybe one of your employees could go on your email program and input those emails. If you're using them tied to your website, then they're automatically going in there, and you just have to create the promotion and push it out. Yes.
Question about deliverability of emails, getting through the spam blockers. Do you have any tips on that?
Can you also, if you don't mind, just repeat the question about my online figure?
Sure. Thank you. The question is, do I have any tips for all those emails that maybe get captured by spam? Well, hopefully they're your emails that you've captured. And you can, one tip that I just have included in one of my webinars on email marketing is that to ask them to add it to their address book. Actually add it, that verbiage, in the email you're sending out. Segmenting them by and smaller batches helps. And then just, if they're getting caught in spam, maybe it's operator error, like if you're getting handwritten ones, or they're giving you spoof ones because they just signing up for it. Always looking at your bounces, looking at why they're going to spam. But the address, adding it to the address, their address book, then is a key way to keep it from getting into spam.
Thank you.
My regular email, if anybody has Yahoo, it goes into spam. I don't know why Yahoo does not like my regular email. And I only email really to my sisters, and they say, we never get your email. And that's gone Yahoo's. They both have Yahoo accounts. Interactive marketing, it's thinking about engaging videos and visuals. And this can be a demonstration video. This can be a video of your shop, a video of a property you're looking at wanting to fill with a new tenant. The changes you've made in your shop, a new location, maybe an interview. I know a roofing business repackages. They go and do an actual live interview with one of their clients after a roof. And a roof is a very expensive, and it's a very referral-based business, any service-based businesses. But they found that then they interview that person, and then they repackage that and put that review on as a live video on their social media platforms. So for retailers, it could be a long-standing customer that you interview, or a testimonial. Interactive storytelling. I like that story of the fair trade store. I would have had no idea. And sometimes just embedding a video onto your front page of your website with you just welcoming customers and thanking them for doing your, been in business in this area for 15 years. Really appreciate everyone. Here's what changes we've made over the last couple of years. Maybe introducing your e-commerce site, maybe just letting them know you're open and your location again, a refresher. Those, like the gentleman for this, their sponsor, that was very effective. And it's an opener on this webinar or this workshop. And so that type of thinking that, and we all like, oh, I hate the video. And, it's okay. We all do. But, just maybe invest in it, get a professional video person to come and take it, because that video will have a long standing on your website. For social media, don't worry about it. just take a short one. And then just edit it. Just take it with your mobile, and because it hides fast. It sits there, but then it goes through the feed fast, and just practice with it. And then partnerships. And we talked about, synergy, collaboration, developing your marketing strategy, consider neighboring businesses, how you can work together. We've seen things like girls' night out or men's special evening shopping during the holidays, get kind of coordinating with collaborative or synergy type businesses and doing a special customer appreciation walk. Art walks have galleries and artists have always seen that value of the art walk, and there's a lot of that. So how are you tying into maybe any of these other type of smaller little promotions that are going on as a retailer, and how could you maybe leverage that, build that, or start one your own? Okay. I get everything. Oh, no, I know. I missed my favorite up there because it's not in my notes. Traditional is still effective. So if you have publications that reach your market, or you feel like you'd like to have a PSA on the radio, you're going to be doing maybe a special event during the holidays, or maybe the first of the year, or for one of the first of the year holidays, a radio remote is still really powerful. Publicity is still great if there is newsworthy to send out. If you're looking at traditional print advertising, or even television advertising, print offers a lot with digital now. They not only have maybe the hard visitor copy or the hard copy that goes to their subscribers, but then they have subscribers, online, and they offer a lot of leveraging, whether it's a banner online, whether it's additional exposure in their online. So if you are thinking and you find that traditional type of advertising is still really effective for you, and you want to do it, look for those opportunities. Look for the opportunities for free listings for events. A lot of tourism, visitor and tourism bureaus or visitor sites will be able, you can list your event, and you can have it up there if it's an event that is kind of like for visitors. Most retail events are. A free listing in the local newspaper, free listings on all kinds of free online sites. So kind of search those out. Those don't cost, just make sure your links work. And those are, really about promoting a special promotion or event. And my last thing down there is balance with pop-ups, events, and in-store promotions. And I pulled these off. These are the picture I took last night. Don't ignore that URL. That's wrong URL because I changed the picture out. But so on this one, welcome to San Luis Obispo. Now, this is at the hotel. Now, Hoteler is your best collaborative partner out there. They are putting heads in the beds, and you as a retailer want feet on the sidewalk. So if you can have a collaboration with them up there, or in this case, on the flip side is a map. Now, Google Maps are great if you know the address, but on the flip side, it gave me an orientation to where downtown was, and it was right at the farmer's market, right? And this was a ripoff. And on this side are some of the things about getting around the trolley, discover SLO, get connected, really valuable piece. Not that your business is going to be listed there, but again, it's that higher level that you have a business, hospitality business, and there's like 5 of those hotels right up there on the top of Monterey, are driving people down to your district. Wildflower Women, great store. And anybody from Wildflower here? No. Really open, great storefront. And she had a little basket out there, and she had these cards. And on the flip side of the card is all of the ways that you can purchase her products and a 20% discount and what was happening with the upcoming promotions. And then there was the chocolate place that I found walking up off the beaten track. He gave me that. And then there's the little piece that they dropped into my shopping bag on the principles of fair trade shopping. So paper is still valuable. I always suggest to retailers and businesses that you have some kind of like takeaway, whether it's a skinny brochure, paper brochure, or it's your card, maybe a little bit bigger, a postcard like that that's easy to mail out, something that can be dropped in their bag or sent with them as an thank you, as an incentive, as upcoming events that are happening. If you're planned out and you have your roadmap planned out and you know what you're going to be doing, send it with those customers that have taken the time to physically find you. And maybe it's just to introduce them and remind them that you have all these other ways they can do business with you, or refer a friend, or whatever it is. So a lot of times we think that everything needs to be electronic and people will download it as a PDF. Not true. Retailers, especially if you have a storefront, they're finding you, they're in your shop, work it. Make sure you get an email signed up, send something with them, follow up with a personal email. Thank you for shopping at our shop. Hope you find your products. We really appreciate your business. We support local. We are local, or we support, SLO, however you say it, and send it. I sign up for anything and everything I can when it's available to me, but I'm again travel all over and I never hear back from any of the businesses I visit. So it's a missed opportunity, right? So traditional is still key, and balancing all of your marketing is still key. Okay, brick and mortar footprint. First impressions are important. Now I'm talking to the choir here because you guys do a great job downtown. Looked really clean. I did have a little hard time finding the parking garage, but that's because that's me and I don't drive a lot of one-ways. But your first impression, thinking about where you, if you were a visitor coming in, what's the impression? And their handouts that I gave you, the first one will be about your own business. The second one is a self-assessment of your district or your strip mall or your area. So unifying in-store and online sales data and managing both channels from the same back office. You want to think about unifying that storefront and online. Every shop that I went into had some type of information about their online shop, whether it was at the counter, whether it was like strategically down in their signage. Their window displays were great. Your brick and mortar is your 24/7 advertising. Use your windows to the max. Keep them clean. Change them regularly. We like to say every 6 weeks. I know that's a lot, but you need to, the footprint of your bricks and mortar, if you have that shop, make sure you have great lights. Lighting is key. Lit at night. I did not find a storefront that was not overwhelmingly great and attractive here. I found a few empty sites that needed a little help, but there weren't clutters of old posters anywhere. Really lots of attention goes into your visual presence here in San Luis Obispo. Bit of problem with flies. There were some fly when we got down, we're close to a few retailers. She had like some clear screens for the flies. I guess they're having flies. But your doors were open. There was, when I went in, the merchandising was high level. Really a lot of attention has gone into your downtown, and it really shows. Again, in-store safety protocols, Are you continuing to offer some online appointments after hours? I saw a few stores that weren't open, but they said appointment only. They, communicated well. The layout of your retail space is key, and we could do a whole workshop on that. But how people move through the retail, always going to the right, having, your points of sale products, your new products kind of display. We like to see displays now as consumers, kind of in a grouping that gives us the idea of how we might use it. When you have a storefront, take quality pictures of every area, every display, and push it out on your social media. Let us know what to expect in your store through the internet. That's the only way that a lot of folks even know you're down here. They know what to expect at Anthropologie. They know what to expect at Pottery Barn. You have to work just a little bit harder as an independent business and even as a franchise to let them know what to expect when in your storefront. So invite them in through your displays and then how your personality of your social media. And then your assets, store assets. Look at your location, your lighting, your window displays, parking for easy pickup. Your district is tight. So if you're going to do curbside, where's the curbside, right? If you're going to do food delivery, and I know that some of your pop-outs from your restaurants are permanent, it's tight down there. So, when your customers come in, oh gosh, did you find us okay? Where'd you park at? We're just trying to make sure that everybody knows where we're at. Is there anything that we can help you with? Do you know about our online shop? That little narrative goes a long way. And you can put that narrative too on your social media and on your website page, FAQ. Make sure your policies are clearly stated on both your website and in your shop. I would do more independent shopping when I'm on the road if I knew, for gift giving, if I knew I could return it easily. So if you're a brick and mortar location and in the past you only done exchanges, but now you have a website and you have an e-commerce site, is your return policy changed? And I leave that up to every individual retailer because you know your cash flow better than anyone. But like I said earlier, Amazon's changed everything, so we have to start to shift a little bit. This wild flower woman's sign, I think she has a kids shop in there, Sandbox Kids. I don't know if it's her same businesses or if they're two separate businesses, but definitely women's clothing on one side, children's on the other. And I just like this picture because, and it's my quality of photo is not that great because I have a vintage phone, as someone called it. That, you have beautiful diagonal over the sidewalk signage, very key. Your city allows that, I take it. Plus then you have awnings, you have the personality, every sign allowed the personality of the business to spill out onto the sidewalk. I did see some sandwich boards, which are not always my favorite, but they were done tastefully. The ones that I did see, I don't know what your sign regulations are, so you want to be just kind of sensitive to that. Wasn't a lot of eye clutter because you guys have a very compact downtown district. Even some of the strip malls that I went to, very compact. But each business had its own personality through its signage. And that's what you really want to think about, is how you're pushing your personality out onto the storefront, as well as through your brand in all of your other marketing, whether you're doing social media, email marketing, e-commerce, print, in your events, taking it out on the road, your booth space, all of that is about your brand. Okay, stellar service in-store and online. Again, what are your policies? Automation, checkout process that's seamless. You offer a lot of different options for paying. Your loyalty programs will go a long way. Order online and pick up, exchange, return at the store. This was from the book, the Boo Boo Records. And I just really liked how they just put it right there up in your face. It's, if you read that, it's also about free shipping, to shop with us online, expect your order to be delivered properly. Thanks to everyone for your continued support. And it just was a great pop-up. It left me with no questions in my mind of everything and all of their store policies and how to do business with them. Okay, local sourcing. I'm going to just take and check my time here. Oh, I'm doing good. Take a drink of water. Such a great group. So local sourcing and selling custom products and private labels. So when you're thinking about your retail strategy, custom products are probably one of the first things that may come to mind if you have the right type of retail. So often going and shopping, like for looking at building your pipeline for new entrepreneurs to come in and physically open up retail, going to markets, going to events, looking at and visiting with some of those people that have those pop-ups there could be a good way to bring in new product. And of course, that business needs to have some point of sales, needs to be presented and prepared for that, but it's a great way to local source. I think I listed everything up there for you. Explore local artisans, designers on online marketplaces, even looking on Etsy. All right. Yes.
I have a question about minority-owned businesses and women-owned businesses.
Mhm.
Are those diluted now? Are those more relevant for kind of like B2B contracting, or is there any B2C elements to those?
The question is, for some of those certifications, like, or those categories, like for minority-owned businesses or veteran-owned businesses or women-owned businesses, there's several layers. So if a individual, and does the SBDC here do work with certification for those type of businesses? Does the SBDC here, your center, work with individuals that want to become certified women-owned businesses and get that actual certification?
Yes, we actually have a workshop coming up in October that's going to have a representative from the SBA who can discuss all.
Oh, great, great. So it's very valuable, especially if you're in an individual in one of those categories. As a retailer that may want to work with that category, absolutely. Because again, supporting minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, veteran-owned businesses, it gives it's part of your narrative of supporting that specific sector that may not always have the same edge up as other business owners, although we're all in it together, we're all working like crazy. But yeah, those certifications are important. It can open up opportunities for having a little bit more competitive edge with procurement, which is working with the government, procuring Home Depot, Amazon, I believe, has some opportunities if you have that certification to then be a selective. They have a special category where it's just for those folks. And if you believe in that and you want to support that, then you can go easily onto Amazon and look at who those vendors are to purchase from. Okay. And I would definitely take the SBA workshop. Is it at no cost for your folks to?
Correct.
Yes. Because it can, there's a process that you have to go through, and there's resources out there to help you fill out and go through that process. But yeah, it can open up some doors, give you priority over vending, especially with the government, if you get on procurement and those things. Okay, great question. Keeping me on my toes, you four. Let's see, let's go over. I think I keep going there and it has to go there. Should it go to sleep again? I know. Okay, it might be my thumb drive too, you know. Okay, and just really, and this was a great question that you asked, kind of leads into leverage all your resources. You know, your colleagues, your local fellow retailers and local businesses. And I love to tell retailers that have been in it for a long time and in it to win it. Look at those new entrepreneurs, those new retailers that are coming out on the street, and introduce yourself and get them into the fold quickly. Let them know and learn how to navigate where they're at, their location, whether it's a strip mall that you are at, the downtown district, wherever it is, where you're located, and you see new entrepreneurs coming into the market, immediately go and become a mentor for them. And in exchange, you will then see some of the ways that they're bringing their product and their ideas. And now we're starting these collaborations. The learning curve of retail can be steep and it's expensive. And if they don't have a good inventory control, they haven't figured out how to use their point of sale that's connected to their, you know, they're purchasing their cash register, and you've already worked that out and have one, your referral will go a long ways. Leverage your downtown associations and your chambers of commerce. Great resources, place to network, place to come in. If you join an association, whether it's a trade association or a local regional association, look at all the benefits and work it. I know as independent business owners, and especially if you don't have a large staff, it can be very overwhelming to get everything done, but you need to be then also taking care of your education and networking and letting people, you know, that referral is really key. Your small business development center, can't say enough about that. Sure, taxes at work, SBA. So take advantage of their workshops. Thank you for coming today. Take advantage of their one-on-one, no cost consulting. Take advantage of some of their accelerated type of workshops that they do for maybe a lot of times they'll do venture pitches and things that they offer for like competitions. And then your city and your county are huge resources. They kind of know the landscape. They often have resources themselves. A lot of cities have facade improvement programs. I'm sure Lee could come down and just tell you what's going on with the economy of this region. I'm going to put you on the spot, Lee. And a lot of, you know, we're still seeing trickle down some of the dollars from the American Rescue Plan Act. So cities and counties have had some resources available. They're being kind of exhausted quickly, but you need to have your house in order, your finances in order to apply, whether it's a grant or a loan, low-cost loan. Your conference visitors bureaus are great resources for retailers. They usually have a category there for shopping, and you don't have to often be a member of that, but you can get a listing on there. If you're doing any event, often they have a place where you can plug in your event right onto their site, and they are bringing in that market that maybe is a little harder for you to capture or understand, because they're really recruiting to the visitor or the conference work that and outside of SLO. They haven't arrived yet. So sometimes they do, for conferences in the past, they've done goodie bags. Now a lot of things are digital. They sometimes will offer and sponsor opportunities. and you can get in front of a new market if that's your market. And then I have down here, these are 25 retail new websites that I found from this blog that I track, because I'm always trying to stay, you know, when I put these together, I don't know everything, so I got to kind of stay fresh. And these are really great websites. So whatever continuing education or blogs you're getting to help them push out what's happening in your industry, your customers appreciate that. So that's, and then here's about the commercial district. And I talked a little bit about it when I was talking about your business. You are a natural in terms of areas, whether it's a strip mall area or the downtown commercial area, you're an incubator by default. Many startup businesses end up, especially retailers, end up in our districts. And so, you know, getting them up to speed fast, understanding the ins and outs of the events, the street closures, the A-board signs, what can be done, changing out their windows. Maybe there's a resource for, you know, you have a sharing among your retailers of sharing props, you know, great window cleaners. Maybe you have all of those things. So your district is really important. And it is placemaking. It is about people enjoying. And when I was walking yesterday, a lot of people just there walking, I could tell they were tourists like me or visitors, because we didn't know which way to look to cross the street and didn't watch that. I'm from Phoenix, so I know you don't cross unless the walk person's there on that little sign. But I talked to I stopped for lunch at Finney's and was sitting there out kind of inside but outside, and another couple sat there with their dog, and we started talking, and they're from Santa Barbara, and they came over because the Volvo people were there, and they loved SLO. He had bought, you know, ate dinner there. They'd been up buying some other things, and so we were chatting about it. So your downtown, I don't really have much to say other than keep it clean and keep it as sparkling clean as possible, except for Bubblegum Alley. I know, saw some people pushing bubblegum on there. And your leadership and engagement is critical. And then, you know, there are some vacancies, and really thinking about those vacancies. The large ones are hard to fill, but there is shifting going on. A couple businesses I talked to have shifted, opened up new space, and that's how it all kind of works. So how do you look for new entrepreneurs? Maker spaces, farmers markets are great ways to look for new entrepreneurs. Your night markets, think about you know, permanent pop-ups, mobile retail and food trucks that are coming, temporary pop-up programming, create new businesses with existing ones. And I just kind of put this here. This is from, I forget where I got that informatic. It might be from Main Street that I pulled down these two handouts from. And it's just kind of talking about the ways that different businesses are open and oh, this is yours. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's your farmers market. Thank you. And so this was, I put there because that is definitely a key way to find new entrepreneurs. So with that said, whew, did I cover everything? Is there anything I missed? Do you have anything you want to share? And online, type it in the chat, and they'll relay it to me. But have you found anything interesting in your years of the toy store, or that you would like to share? I don't want to put you on the spot or anything.
No, because we're not downtown.
Where are you?
We're on a little island.
Ah.
On biscuits.
Gotcha.
I have a parts everybody.
No, by Trader Joe's.
We aren't connected to so much of the vibrant downtown that happens.
So you're a destination and in your own.
Along our
Yeah,
I mean, 500 is a really good thing this month.
wow,
And so we've seen all the changes you talked about.
yeah. Yeah. And so you're by Trader Joe's area, you're in
Yeah.
a strip mall area? Yeah, but that's good foot traffic.
It's really.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's probably your prime market anyways, those folks that are shopping there. Yeah. Yeah, so you're having to be more of a destination when you started out.
Yes. We've always felt, that
Mhm.
and we, before COVID, we had a lot of events at the store, constantly.
Constantly.
We have story times, we have training days. We're just now starting to schedule a few.
Good.
Live events.
Okay.
It's been a couple of sad years.
Yeah. When the pandemic first hit, my husband said, "Oh, don't worry, it'll only be a couple weeks." I'm like, "Oh, it was wrong." Well, that's great to hear. And congratulations on being in business that long. Yes. Anybody else? What business do you have?
I'm actually part of the accelerator team.
Oh.
Here, CIE, and so we're very, very early on. We're achieving, so we're making the leap through medical material.
Nice. Great.
Payment processing, with Polypay, a local company here. And then one of the topics you hit on comes a little close to our world about like the packaged, bundled, e-commerce
Uh-huh.
things. And some of them, it's probably part of their business model, but it includes some pretty high processing fees
Mhm.
associated with that bundle that you really can't get out of. And so that makes it
Oh, with the
Yeah.
e-commerce sites. Yeah.
to find less expensive ways to do e-commerce because it's all kind of tied into everything else.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. I'm new at the company, been there about 3 weeks now.
Oh.
and- Yeah, but it's been an education for me to talk to lots of merchants out there. and go,
Great.
"Oh, we have this, but we can't get out of it." Oh, well.
Oh, well, let me know when you were there changing their website. Just
Right,
leave
well,
the card.
I've been on a mission to find like who's agnostic out there or which ones can we plug into without interrupting any of their existing features.
Right.
So I'm on a learning curve there
Great.
to see what.
And Lee, what do you see coming into the market?
I think a lot of what we did early in the pandemic, hire some consultants to look at what the future was. The nature of the experiential piece is a big part. Then also getting people to live downtown. So people who live downtown versus people who work downtown make a big difference. So there's a lot of new housing coming downtown, which helps everybody to get that to accelerate. We need some sort of grocery store. We don't have, we have a smart final. We need something downtown to find some of those things. And kind of your point, one of the things we're looking at is to go into next year and beyond. We've done a lot of downtown. We're starting to do now, like we started with maps from the other areas of town. So there'll be one from one Reading, one Kara, then Broad Street. Then the idea from there is continue to make those their own centers. Now that you have marketplace across the street, and kind of then connect those with bike paths and other things so people can move around.
Right.
And it's kind of the idea that we end up with a big T, which is Broad Street coming into downtown, and then downtown continuing all the way up Monterey, and then all the way out to Kara, and then kind of where you are, on down to bike trail. So that's kind of a long-term plan, is to make it not just downtown and start to demonstrate that there's other parts of St. Louis that people can come and visit.
Great. Good to be progressive with that.
Yeah, we've done it. I mean, I think Woodson City has done a pretty good job over the years. And if you look at the plan, all of what you see now, the two big hotels used to be parking lots, and that plan started in the late 50s. Buy the land and build the structure.
Right. I'm a big believer in the 20-year project, so hopefully Ross's isn't a 20-year project.
You know, I mean, these two, there's plenty plenty of interest in Ross and Beverly's from people who want the buildings.
Yeah,
People who own the buildings are more reluctant.
yeah,
They don't want to sell the buildings and people who want the space, want to buy it.
right, great. So are there any things on, anybody share anything on?
No, not yet.
Okay, well, the pieces I gave you, one is for you just to do maybe, National Main Street Center put this out, and it was a great, blog, and it came with this little checklist, and one is for you just to kind of for your business, and the other is just to think about your location, where you're located, and kind of do an assessment. And it's just some points that I thought. We are going to provide you with the PDF of the PowerPoint with my notes, so you'll get everything that I had shared from once I do the PDF and send it to you. And I want to thank everybody that was watching live online. I wish I could see you all, but really feel great and honored to be here and share my 2 cents about retail. I love retail. I love working with retailers. I love visiting retailers. I love buying from retailers. And so I really thank you for the time, and I'll let you finish up.
Absolutely. So just a couple upcoming events. We have our next coffee and conversation with Chris Ladasky of Abound. That will be about venture capital mostly. That will be Wednesday, September 14th, 8:30 to 9:30 a.m. And that, of course, is free as always. And then we also have our first SBA workshop, which is SBA loan programs and how to apply. Really great informative session about how to get some capital funding for your businesses. And that will be September 20th, noon to 1:30, and that one is free as well. Both of these workshops will be hybrid, so there will be options here at the CIE Lott House as well as virtually via Zoom. So you can go to our event calendar with the link there. And we will also be sending out links in the follow-up email as well. But thank you so much, Lani. It's been such a wonderful session today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for hosting. Okay.